Hey guys, Kyle Cordiana here. This is going to be my FLW 2019 tour recap of Lake Seminole out of Bainbridge, Georgia. So you saw the practice videos by now. They are out there. You can see on day 2 I started figuring something out. Day 3 I expanded on that area. I was really confident going into this tournament to do well. The day 1 videos out there did not fish clean at all. Didn't have as many big bites as I thought I would get. In fact, didn't have very many at all. And I only had 10 pounds, 12 ounces. Lost several fish. Could have had a better day, but finished the day in 72nd place. 65 get paid, so I was sitting right there. And then on day 2, I get 30-something bites, hookups, whatever you want to call it. And I think I only boat like 12 fish. I still had over 14 pounds. Jumped up to 36th place. Almost made the top 30 cut. Chomping at the bit for another shot at that. But I got on a real cool pattern that I kind of blindly stumbled onto. Basically, I was way up one of the river arms that had current. And I was going in between current breaks. So I had a current break, and then I'd get out in the main current and just drift on down and get to another current break. And I was trying to fish the current breaks. Well, somewhere in the middle, in between one current break and the other, I get a bite. And I set the hook on it. It's pulling me drag, pulling under the boat. And I get a little look at it, and it comes off. And I'm like, was that a bass? Because if that was a bass, that was a big one. And then a little bit further down the bank, I get another bite, and I catch a fish. And then I catch another fish. And then I catch like a 7-pounder, 7.5-pounder. I start shaking fish off. I get excited. What I figured out is these fish, there was a lot of post-spawn fish doing it, but there were some pre-spawn too. But they were utilizing these shallow areas of current that had vegetation. You couldn't see the vegetation in practice. It was muddy because we had a lot of rains. But they were holding to that vegetation and hiding in these clumps of vegetation that were draped over from the current. So if my arm is a blade of grass, it normally stands up. The current was blowing it over like that, and the fish were sitting right here underneath it. And the presentation was really unique. You had to almost have the bait behind you, the boat drifting this way, and be pulling the bait with the current and just drop that in that fish's face that was hiding under that, and they were just smashing it. The problem with that, in a lot of current like that, the bait's tumbling, it's falling, there's grass and stuff. I'm not so sure the fish get that in their mouth very good. They get it funny, they get it upside down. I had a lot of fish hooked in the bottom lip. I changed colors, I changed hooks, I had everything imaginable. I was getting so frustrated. I tried everything to keep a better hookup. I did wide gap light wire, wide gap heavy. I did small flipping hooks. I did a straight shank hook that was a light wire hook. I ended up having like a big 5/0 hook that was the same size as my Jean LaRue punch out crawl, the whole length of it, and the hook was just sticking out. I was desperate to get those fish hooked up. I'm still not sure. If you have any tips for me on how I could keep those fish buttoned up, wait till you watch the day 2 video and let me know what you would have done to try to keep those fish hooked up. I tried moving baits, they wouldn't eat them. I tried everything. It had to be that creature bait. So anyhow, I'm going to show you guys what I used, how I caught them, or lost them. But anyway, we ended up having a good event. We moved up with 35th in points. So what I want to show you first is a bait that doesn't get fished with very much anymore. And it's a Jean LaRue salt flicker. You guys ever seen that before? Right? It's just a big old ribbed worm. It's really fat, it's really chunky, and it's got these arms on it that paddle. So I had some bites on this, and the very first day of practice I found a shell bed out deep, and I jumped off like a 5-pounder on this June bug colored worm. I really like June bug and purple colored worms. When I get in Florida, it's kind of just a thing, and I got a lot of confidence in it. But they will eat that, guys. If your guys are looking for something a little different, something other than a Cinco or something like that, something with a little more movement, try a Jean LaRue salt flicker. It's a freaking awesome bait. And I just wanted to show you guys that because it's kind of been forgotten. And it's a little secret that I pull out from time to time. What I did, the bulk of my catching on, was a very small 3/16 ounce or 1/4 ounce tungsten by Shaker Tungsten and Tackle. And this little guy right here, I put a brand new one on here for you guys so you can see how it works. This is a Jean LaRue punch-out craw. Okay, it's just a crawded kind of style bait, creature bait. But what's cool about it is your ability to change the action. If I left it like this, see it's all attached. It comes like that right out of the mold. And you don't have a lot of action. So if you're looking for something really subtle, but you can break it there. You can break it there, which is where I typically like it. It's kind of meet in the middle. and you get a good action. You have to put it in the water to see what all you get. But you can break it again if you want. There, I broke it there, and I pulled the hook out, and you can break it there. Now you've got a bait that really flops around. So you, the angler, can control how much action you get out of that bait simply by how much you want to break it. I had it broke 2 times. I didn't have it broke that final time. I was trying to keep my action closer to my hook because I was losing so many. But that is a June bug color punch-out craw by Jean LaRue, and it is phenomenal bait, not only for punching, but just for flipping creature baits around. I had, man, I had this on like 4 or 5 different rods. This one here is a 7.3 medium heavy, but it's a Kistler helium. And I had it on a 7.6 heavy Z-bone. I had a 7.3. I had a 7-foot medium heavy. I tried a light medium heavy. I had all kinds of different stuff, but I always had 17 or 20 pound fluoro. Fluoro doesn't have stretch. I thought I could take that up with the current in the grass. I was doing my darndest to keep those fish hooked up, and for whatever reason, I kept losing them. But that's what I was throwing. I was getting a lot of bites on it. There were guys that were not getting 5 bites a day, and I was over there getting, like I said, I had over 30 bites on day 2. So I know I was doing the right thing. I knew I had the right color bait, or at least I thought I did. If I changed colors, I wouldn't eat it. It had to be June bug. And I just had a lot of bites in there holding that vegetation. I also had some fish in practice using the exact same bait. Again, but I had it pegged with a 1.5 ounce shaker tungsten and tackle with a big peg on it, 70 pound samurai braid, and just punching the mats with a big 711 Z-bone, heavy action rod, Arden Apex Elite, 7-to-1 gear ratio. You see me pull a couple of good fish out of there. I lose like a 10 pounder that when they come out of that mat with that big old weight and they shake their head, a lot of times you just lose fish that way because that big weight acts like a pair of pliers and it'll just make it come right out. And then here's the other bait I want to show you guys. I lost the footage. On day 1 we had horrible nasty weather and fog, but I caught a couple of nice fish on this on day 1 in practice. This is a bionic chatterbait. Again, a custom looking skirt that I had him do for me. It has some purple and some shad color in it. And then that's a Jean LaRue hammer craw in it. Like guys, I've showed you that trick before. I like to turn my creature bait sideways to look it more like a fish. But you can't tell me that is not a good looking chatterbait, guys. Anyway, I had a lot of fish hit that on day 1. But when I started finding them all balled up in the grass, there was something about that current. They wanted that bait to get down beyond that grass and just land on them. And so you had to get through the grass. So this is better for when they're up on top feeding up. These fish were hiding down just out of the current. You had to drop it right in their face. So that's it. That's my recap, guys. I'm sitting here rigging up for Grand Lake. I leave tomorrow for Grand Lake. It's our next stop. It's considered a home lake to me. It's an hour and a half away. The fishing there is going to be brutally tough unless we get some warming trends and things like that. There's a few things that could kick them off. But that lake, this time of year, is very, very, very tough. And then all of a sudden they'll flip a switch. And there'll be like a couple-week period where you just smash a bunch of 20-pound bags. We could hit it right. I'm not sure, but we could hit it right. So be watching for that one. It's going to be cool. Going to be a lot of fun. I almost forgot. I did catch some fish running a speed worm, and I just want to show you guys. A lot of people throw the same kind of speed worm. Check out Jean LaRue's ringtail worm. Okay, it's a little bit different. It's got a little bit different action to it, a little longer, a little different tail. Make yourself stand out a little bit. Try the ringtail worm by Jean LaRue. Throw it out, reel it in right through the grass. It's as easy as that. They got a whole bunch of different colors. So give that a look if you want to have your speed worm look a little different than everybody else's. Oh God, you guys got to take a look at the new truck. Just got the new truck back from Meeks Group. You can't miss me, guys. I'm bright Bobby Garland green. It's crazy bright. But I just want to thank every one of my sponsors that helps me continue to chase my dream and live this dream. Thank you, Lowrance, Cabela's, Bass Pro Shop, Crappie Pro, of course, Bobby Garland Baits, Zeller's Land and Home, Kistler Rods, Greenleaf Lawn, Bulk Beef Jerky, Calco's Fishing, SJL Modeling Promotions. Yes, I'm sponsored by a modeling agency. Empire Fence, Stormer, Rain Gear, Jean LaRue, Herbalife, thank you Shannon Miller, Angler Hub Pro Team, Tanner Pretty with Angler Hub and Spot Safe, T4 Ranch, Jimbo Taylor, Bionic Fishing, Cross Industries, thank you Chaz for all that you do, and check out that bumper. We got Kips Wine and Liquors, Kong Coolers, Ardent, Power Pole, Opticast, Shaker, tungsten, and tackle, and don't forget Costa. So thanks everybody for helping me chase my dream, and let's get out there and get her done at Grand Lake.